interlude before we open up the last 7 judgments. All right. So chapter 14 is kind of like an overview of what's going to take place in chapters 15 through 19. All right. So it's kind of like an overview of what's going to happen. So this chapter opens up, as we see, with the 144,000 and proceeds to 4 climactic announcements that's going to happen. Okay, so it's really an overview to get in depth of what's really going to be taking place. All right. So we open up with chapter 14 and verse 1. I gave you a handout here, and it tells you the whole chapter of what's happening. So I'm trying to cover at least 1 through 5, verses 1 through 12 tonight. You get that covered because it's very kind of overview, so very easy to follow and keep up with. Right, so we open up with a picture. In verse 1, picture of the Lamb with the 144,000. All right? Now we know who the 144,000 are, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Who's going to tell me who they are?
The 144,000 priests, 12,000 from each tribe of Israel, that were left on the earth to preach to those who didn't make the resurrection, those who have to go through the tribulation.
Okay, all right, good. And I looked, and lo, a lamb stood on the Mount Zion, and with him, and what? 144,000, having their names written in their foreheads. So these were the 144,000 that were sealed, that went through the tribulation period witnessing, okay, trying to get those to be saved. Okay. They were there to the last moment because they are trying to get them saved up until the very last time. I mean, this is it. Yeah. The judgment comes. So to the point of judgment, they're still trying to witness for those to be saved. Now, like that, who's standing with them now?
Christ.
Christ. The Lamb is standing with them. And last time we also saw some names that were written on some folks' forehead. But what was that name? The opposite of these.
The name of Satan.
Right.
Yeah.
The name was Satan.
Or the number.
The number.
Yeah.
666.
Right. Because they had names. So now we get 2 different contrasts of the saint names that are written on their forehead by the Lamb, and then you have the unbelievers, Satan folks.
Yeah.
They get a name, 666, okay, on their head. All right. Any questions about that? Okay, and it's very easy to identify 144,000. And I heard a voice from heaven, as the voice of many waters, and as the voice of a great thunder. And I heard the voice of harpers harping with their harps. Where's the alliteration? And they sung as it were a new song before the throne, and before the 4 beasts and the elders, and no man could learn that song but the what? 144,000, which were redeemed from the earth. Okay? And that's why I'm very particular of the songs that you sing. Okay? Because you really have to sing. If you talk about praying in your song and you never pray, you just sing it a lot. You know? So what you sing about, you have to live about. What you talk about, you have to live about. So this song here, I think this is the song, it was a new song that only the 144,000 could sing. I couldn't sing this song because I didn't go through what they went through. Okay? Because you should be singing and praise of what your relationship of what you know and your experience and all of that, okay, with praise. So what they're singing, you can sing it. Okay? So that's why it was what a new song for them. Yeah. So we got to sing, yeah.
And I think a lot of people don't think about that. They just sing a song.
Right.
You know,
Because it sounds good, I like
as
it.
a little girl, my grandmother used to sing. They was Riri was trying to sing a song about my mama dead. And my mom was like, your mama ain't dead? Like you singing a song about.
That's true.
You know, but it was a song, one of those songs, and she was like, no, y'all can't sing that, you know. But people just listen to what it sound like and not listen to the words of it. And, you know, she's like, you can't get up there singing no lie.
Right.
So,
That's true.
Right.
Absolutely. Okay. All right. So at the, and reading that last one said unto, which were redeemed from the earth. So therefore, in order to get to heaven with Christ, we have to be what? Redeemed.
Redeemed.
Purchased. So there's that form right here. They were redeemed from the earth. We too will be redeemed when we get to heaven too.
One thing I need to go back and research it is did the 144,000 die before they were set aside to preach to those who are going through the tribulation? Because remember, every man and woman has to die a physical death. This is why the two witnesses had to die and then rise again, be resurrected. So I'm wondering, the question is, did the 144,000 die and were resurrected and left, or were they just left and then now they have to die and then be resurrected? That'd be a study question for it, because everyone has to.
It kind of
Jesus
based on
said
this,
himself
that they
is-
died sometime, I think during the tribulation.
during the tribulation or before the judgment.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think
Right.
they had, yeah.
Okay,
Or
So they
go
gotta-
through the tribulation.
so they gotta die and then
Be ascended.
right
Yeah.
into it, yeah.
Yeah, they-
Because remember, Jesus said, except a seed fall in the ground and die, it can't live or something to that. Yeah.
So they gotta stay and go through all of that
Yeah.
and then die
Yeah.
and go be with the Lord.
Yeah.
Wow.
And there's something, ooh, but the Lord, that's.
Yeah, that was their calling to
To
preach
do
to
that.
those who remain in the tribulation.
And I found verse 4 very interesting. I think I have read it or mentioned before, but it's, these are they, 144,000, which were not defiled with women. For they are what?
Virgins.
Virgins,
Mhm.
male virgins.
Mm-hmm.
These are they which follow the Lamb for was,
Whithersoever
thank you.
they go.
Whithersoever he goeth. These were redeemed from among men, being the first fruit unto God and to the Lamb. And in their mouth was found what?
No guile.
guile. Isn't it one to have a tongue that only speak truth? That has to be a powerful 144,000. Their tongue, their mouth had no guile,
They never spoke
but
anything
never spoke
wrong.
lie.
Never spoke a lie.
Never had blame, never was blameless.
Right,
Yeah.
and they
Never
were
did anything wrong.
without fault, blameless before the throne of God. Wow. And we can look at that physically and spiritually.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Because with the James said that tongue is an unruly evil. Who can tame it? When I'm reading here, their mouth was found no God, and they were blameless, without fault. So I said, that is, wow, with the Lamb. All right. Now we get ready to see these. Let's look at 1 through 5. I think we covered verses 1 through 5, okay? Those are paper. The 144,000 basically described this way. They were purchased or redeemed
Redeemed.
and sealed to God. And those are my numbers 1 through 5. So those 144,000 that were purchased or redeemed and sealed to God. They were what? Male virgins. Morally.
They were those who followed the
They
Lamb
followed the Lamb.
whithersoever he goeth,
Mhm. They always spoke truth.
and they were the first fruits unto God
Mhm.
and to the Lamb.
And they were blameless. That's powerful. That's powerful. So these virgins, they were not married. They were not married. So it was legal. It's all right. I mean, you're married. You're just right. But they were not married. Okay, so they produced.
Right.
Because marriage is honorable. Be it under father, so it's okay. But here during tribulation period, it wasn't. Okay. Now we go into verse 6 and 7. We're going to see 3 angels. Okay. And what they are proclaiming. And I thought it was very interesting. Because in the coming of Christ, who were the messengers that sent the word? Angels.
Mhm.
And since then, we have always had men to do it. During the New Testament and all that, it was always men, prophets, Elijah and all those. Now, near the end, it goes back to the angels. Because now the angels, they didn't carry the message
No,
in the New
the
Testament.
disciples
Disciples.
and apostles,
Yeah.
and men and women.
So I thought that was, yeah, that the angels now are back carrying the message from
Mhm.
the beginning and the end.
Because the work is already finished
Mhm.
for the apostles and whatnot, except for these 144,000 who are witnesses now.
So here come these angels, okay? And the first angel, and I saw another angel fly in the midst of heaven, having the everlasting gospel to preach unto them that dwell on the earth, and to every nation and kindred and tongue and people, saying with a loud voice, Fear God, and give glory to him, for the hour of his judgment is come.
Just come.
And worship him that made heaven and earth and the sea and the fountains of waters. So the angel now is preaching the gospel. Okay? And he's preaching the gospel, and it's still the same gospel. Jesus Christ, the good news. That's what the gospel is. So he's still preaching the angel, but the angel is doing it now. Therefore, the angel, that means no one has an excuse for saying they had never had an opportunity to hear the gospel. So before this take place, everyone would have had the opportunity to hear the gospel. He said he wouldn't come. Jesus
Until
would come
everybody.
until everybody has heard the gospel.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't make everyone. So you can't have an excuse that I didn't know.
So he dispersed his angels.
That one angel.
One angel.
One angel, that first angel.
The first angel
That
is preaching
is
the
preaching the
gospel.
gospel. The good news. Okay? So the first angel is warning the people to do what? To fear God and give glory to God. Okay? That all will have heard the gospel. Instead of the Antichrist. Okay? This is the last offer to humans. This angel right here, it's the last offer. Because it's saying what? Saying with verse 7, saying with a loud voice, fear God and give glory to God, what? For the hour of his judgment. And once the judgment, that's it. But most of the time they use wrath, the wrath of God. But here It's judgment. So that's it. So this, when the angel come, that's the last opportunity to fear God. Okay? And to worship God. All right, but this is the first angel of, it's 6 of others. The last 3 chapter. All right. Because angels, they're indestructible. So yeah. And this is a very intense time during the Great Tribulation period. So only the angels can get the message to God, of God through the world. Okay. Eternal gospel. Verse 8. And there followed, after that angel, there followed another angel, saying, Babylon is fallen, that great city, because she made all nations drink of the wine of the wrath of her fornication.
So,
They said fallen twice, so fallen. It's fallen. You can get the first time. Hear this again, the sincerity of it.
because they drunk the wine.
Okay? What it means with Babylon, because Babylon was the first organized system of government that left God out of the equation, I guess you would say. Okay? It lured his people into adultery, fornication, all the wickedness. They were the first one to set up that kind of system, and the Christians, as we call them, Israel fell into it. But Babylon organized, okay, the
Yeah.
system of government.
Yeah. Because Babylon was a large province, and Rome was a major empire in that province, and in the ancient time. And of course, Rome was somewhat like Sodom and Gomorrah, because they had a lot of paganism, worshiping idol gods and so forth and so on. A lot of things going on that were contrary to what God had established. Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely. All false religion originated in Babylon. So they just, yeah. So that's what it means by wine. Because she made all nations drink, fall into that false religion and adultery and sin. That's what that means. Not literally wine of her fornication, of her adultery. Because they said the system that left God out. And it was all false. And people fell into that religion. All right. And I think by the time, was it Nebuchadnezzar that captured the Israels into captivity? I think he was king during that time, and Israel went into captivity in Babylon. And they were there for about 40-something years. Right, under this, so they took on all those,
Took on their culture.
their culture. Yeah. So that's what that means. So the second angel would tell them that Babylon would be destroyed. Because what happened was destroyed, but I think it was rebuilt through the history. And then Babylon is where the Antichrist kingdom will be. So Christ, when he comes, he will destroy that. Because that's where the Antichrist kingdom is set, in Babylon. This is the second angel's proclamation.
Yeah, and this is a spiritual representation of what is taking place in the world. The worldwide system is being corrupt. And one significant thing, when they come to this one world money, one world,
Currency,
that's
one
a sign, another sign of the coming of the end. It's one world currency, and they're working on that now.
But even religion, a one world religion,
Yeah,
one world
they're
currency,
working
one,
on
right, one, right.
So it's pointing this way. You know.
So there's the second angel. And then in verse 9, You're gonna read 9 through 12. And the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast and his image, and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of God, which is poured out without fixture into the cup of his indignation. And he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. And the smoke of their torment ascendeth up forever and ever, and they have no rest day or night, who worship the beast and his image, and whosoever receiveth the mark of his name. Here is the patience of the saints, which are they that keep the commandments of God and the faith in Jesus. So here is pronouncement of the judgment of those who receive the mark of the beast. So if you got that mark of the beast, you're going to drink of the wine of what? The wrath of God.
Yeah.
So you have been ruling for 3.5 years, but your time is up. You are getting ready to receive now the wrath of God. So the third angel really pronounces doom on the worshipers of the Antichrist during this tribulation period. And I want to pour it out without mixture into the cup of his indignation. So I'm thinking of that same cup, that agony that Christ was in the garden. He said, if this, just let this cup
Pass me.
pass me by. So in that cup, this is a cup here. You're going to receive that. That mixture of the wrath of God.
Wow.
If you get your name 666, you're fortunate. The wrath of God is coming. Okay?
And this, we talk about the wine in this cup being symbolic, spiritual, wrath for what's going to be poured out upon them. For those who will be watching on the YouTube, just as when Jesus said that you don't pour new wine in old bottles, and so it's a spiritual symbolism there. Yeah. So don't take it literal and physical,
Right.
Like wine being poured out on them, but
Right.
it's a representation of the
wrath.
the wrath and death.
The torment.
The torment.
Yeah.
The torment.
It's going to take place. Just like tormented with fire and brimstone. It might not be fire and brimstone. I don't know what fire and brimstone. What is brimstone? Fire. What is rock? I don't know what is brimstone. Fire and brimstone. But I think it would be something even worse that we can't even explain. Sodom and Gomorrah. Sodom and Gomorrah, the fire and brimstone. But look how that just
Just wipe
wiped them out. And this probably something similar or worse.
It'll be worse.
Worse than that. Yeah. In the presence of the holy angel. So you doomed. Okay? In the presence of the Lamb. No rest, day or night. Who worship the beast in his image. All right. But look at us. For the threefold observation we see here in verse 12, here is the patience of the saints. Here are they that what? Keep the commandments of God. And what? The faith in Jesus Christ. So these are the ones that have sacrificed, doing, and brought through the Great Tribulation. Here are the patients. They have gone through, they have been there during the Great Tribulation period. So we're talking about the saints in verse 12. Here is the patience of the saints. So the perseverance of the saints during this time. That's the threefold observation there. For the saints, the perseverance, they went through that. And what? They kept the commandments of God, even in the midst of all that. And 3, those who have left what? Kept their faith in Jesus. Any other questions about 1 through 12? Okay. Now again, this is kind of like an overview because you're going to get more into detail in chapter 15 to 19. You're going to go back and bring up everything in detail. This is kind of like an interlude again. Okay. And I don't think that, I know the churches in heaven, but I don't think they would witness what's going on earth. I don't think we would be able to see that. I don't think, you think we'd be able to see it? I don't think.
See what the
What's
tribulation
happening,
down here?
yeah.
I think,
You
I
think?
think he'll let us see them being tortured.
I think,
I just don't, because it's gonna be so horrible.
But that's their choice, because they could have did right.
and see, look at the torment that they put the prophets and the disciples and apostles through when they beheaded them and crucified them and burned them in oil, fed them to lions. So this is God's vengeance taking place for what they did to his saints. So I believe we're going to see.
Because they were
what's taking
looking at the torture that they were doing, you
Mhm.
know. They were celebrating that torture. You look at the people, looked at Jesus being
Mhm.
tormented and nobody did anything.
Mhm.
So he gonna let us see it.
And the two witnesses, look how they,
We're gonna be saying, get him, get him.
well, I don't know if we be
No, I'm
saying that,
sure.
but I think we will. But we won't know till we get there.
Yeah.
It takes place. Food for thought.
Yeah. Yeah. That is, I was like, oof. All right, and the last one, this is praise, okay, for those who die in the Lord. And I heard a voice from heaven saying unto me, what? Right. Blessed are the dead which die in the Lord from henceforth. Yea, said the Spirit, that they may rest from their labors, and their works do follow them. I've heard ministers use this for funerals. This is not a scripture for funerals. All of this deals with the great tribulations. So you're dealing with those that have gone through the tribulation period. Those that died now do not go through what this is saying. And I heard a voice from heaven saying unto me, right, blessed are the dead which die in the Lord from henceforth. Yea, said the Spirit, that they may put rest from their labors. All that they had done, I don't know if it's speaking directly to 144,000 or those that were saved, that were martyred because of the tribulation period, because Satan's going to kill them. For their works do follow them.
So that's like their reward for not
Their reward.
giving in to
Mhm.
Satan, even though it was hard. They still stood fast.
Yeah, you do. And so I think they use it, but to take it out of if you do, you take it out of the context of what is written at this time. Well, he's dealing with that 3.5 years of tribulation here. And all of this could apply outside of the text, that we will rest, you know, from what we have done here. But we really are comfortable. We really haven't gone through what these tribulation saints, martyrs, will go through during this time. And they will praise God, those who die in the Lord. Yeah. And that, you know, for their works follow with them, that they will be rewarded for their faithfulness. Standing through all that, they will be rewarded for their faithfulness, their commandments to God, their patience, their works in that period. Because that's some work. We don't have much work now. It's a joy, but knowing you're gonna get ready to, you don't have the mark of the beast, and you have to go through the salvation and all of that. Can't buy, can't sell, but they stayed there. That's a reward. That's why I hate on the 3 qualities that belong to the this, I think the scripture belong to the tribulation saints. That they die in the Lord. They rest from their labors.
It works.
And their works or their deeds, what follow with them. Their death is not in vain, and they shall be rewarded on the other side. Because of those, they went through these tribulation saints. There might be those 44,000 might be in this crowd. But they, yeah, I'm sure they had to die. Yeah. Okay. Then next week we could get into Armageddon. Then we're gonna meet 3 more angels. Before then next week we'll be into the 7 more bowls get to open up. Yes.
For the voice from heaven, what was that?
Oh, blessed are the dead. And the voice of heaven. Blessed are the dead who die in the Lord. He's talking about the tribulation saints. That was the voice from heaven said. Yeah, that was. In verse 13, right? Blessed are the dead which die in the Lord. Yeah. And those are the 3 choirs of the tribulation saints, that they will be rewarded. But I think it was 144,000. To me, I believe it's 144,000 will be in this scripture here. And also the untold number of those that got saved, you know, during this tribulation period. Gentiles. Yeah. But who wants to go through that? Especially when you don't get the seal. Some people gonna cave in and get the seal, they can eat. I mean, just being hungry alone, you would die of starvation anyway. So they alone, they wouldn't get that mark of the beast. So that is, yeah, that verse right up there. All right, any questions from this lesson? Very good, quick overview of what's to come.
Question. So, you were saying that, you know, they won't be able to buy or sell or eat. So, the ones that accept Christ and don't go back, you know, stand faithful, if they die from starvation, their soul will go on up to heaven. I mean, or will they just, well, I guess the question I'm asking, will any of them just die before the 3 years are up?
I'm sure.
Yeah, that's.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay. That's
Yes,
what I'm
before
saying.
3.5 years.
Yes. Okay.
Because literally, you cannot go without food for
This book, the world record says 11 days.
7 days. So you can't buy anything. I don't know if they grew something. No, you could get to buy seed, right? They couldn't buy anything. Get to, in order to plant, you get to buy seed. And they weren't going stealing it from nobody, so they just died of starvation.
Store up ahead of time.
Store it up. You know, it would just.
Because it
Yeah,
do make
just-
you wonder, you know,
Yeah.
if you was in that and you accepted Christ, just don't eat and go on and die. And you wouldn't have to go the
through the
whole
rest.
3 years. You know, I mean, I'm saying, I'm like, okay, you know, so I was just wondering, will they be sustained to have to still go through it, you know, and not, their bodies not function like our bodies function.
Okay.
That, you know.
Yeah, if they've got a
Right.
sustaining manner somewhere,
Yes.
spiritual manner, you know.
Yes. Yeah, I mean,
Just
this
a thing.
question that
A seal that seals protects them from the wrath of God,
Mhm.
but it does not protect them from the wrath of
Satan.
Satan. So they had to go through,
Yeah.
but they didn't have the seal of the beast and all that. So they had to. So this song they had to go through.
Mhm.
all the stuff that the dragon put on those that didn't have that mark, and they didn't have it. They only had the mark of, so you know they went through.
Yeah.
They had to deal with the wrath of Satan.
That way I'll cut it off.